welcome back to Razor RC. Doing a little bit different type of video today. I'm doing a complete teardown of my Arrma Granite 4x4 BLX. So I need to do a chassis swap on this because the chassis is cracked here. It's pretty much smashed in there, so it's time to swap that out, which as far as I can tell pretty much involves taking apart the entire car. So hopefully this will be of interest to some of you guys. It's a rainy day here in California, so what better time than to actually do the chassis swap. So I already pulled out the power module. You basically just take out the screw underneath, slide this out, and then you can pop the whole thing out. But yeah, it's time to get into it, I guess. So got my power screwdriver, and I think the first thing we're going to do is remove the power module, or the electronics module I think it's called. So shout out to Great Lakes RC. He actually pointed out that the screws that you need to remove that have this little dot here. So we are going to do that first. Hopefully this isn't like super boring. I guess I'll talk a little bit while I'm doing this. I do actually use a little bit longer screw on some of these because I found that the stock screws were a little short. Like that one, it seemed like it was popping out way too easily. And so I use like a 2mm longer screw. Something like that. Actually, before we do that, let's take out this screw here, which is the linkage. You want to do that before the whole electronics module comes out. Oops, not that one. That's the steering. Okay, so that pops this whole thing out, which is kind of a cool design. I'll probably change out the servo at some point. It's a really expensive servo, and since I'm just bashing this thing, I don't really need anything quite that nice. So let's take off the mud guards. Slow cordless screwdriver is always a good idea when you're taking apart like 20 different. You're taking apart like 100 different screws. It is really raining out here. Put that to the side. Flip it over to the other side. So 3 screws here. One thing a lot of people don't know about these Arrmas is that actually the screws have a little bit of an enamel coating on them, so they don't really rust. But the downside is I found that the hex heads are a little more, the tools don't bite into them quite as well, so I often replace them anyways. Move the battery straps. Well, I guess I don't have to clean this chassis anymore at least. Okay, so now let's pull off the rear first. That looks a little simpler. Oh, this is 2.5mm screws underneath. And actually, probably not a bad idea to pop off the shocks because I think this whole thing's going to come off. So we are going to do just the tops of the shocks. Take out the other one. Not a bad idea, just put that back so you don't lose these screws, or you don't forget where they actually go. I'll stick them in with a few threads. Okay, probably this bumper. I'm pretty sure this bumper needs to come off. Okay. Now we can take that whole bumper off. Probably need to clean that as well. Okay, I think we're going to remove the last screw here underneath. And the whole top should pop off. I think this whole thing, there we go, comes right off. At this point, yeah, I guess we're going to have to remove the hinge pins. I'm not sure what the easiest way to do that is actually. Okay, so the back hinge pin can pop off. Then you need some pliers. Grab some pliers and pull those hinge pins out. We'll give those a good cleaning as well. So the whole rear end, all the parts go there. Then you should be able to pull the arms out, which means you can now take the top off. And since this is going to be super dirty, take that off. Take the diff out. So this is a one-piece diff with a little mounting system. If you ever need to get these arms off, I made a video about it. But basically, you got to take a 2mm driver and unscrew it like that, although this one is a little too short. But we'll put that to the side, and I think the whole rear end is off now. So let's get the front end off, which pretty much should be similar. Unscrew front bumper. Which is just 2 screws in the front. This is the only part I've actually broken. This little bumper piece here snapped, and I bought another pack of 2, so not a big deal, but it's amazing how durable this thing is. So let's get a little water on these. Get a little water on there. Get my pick. So yeah, it's pretty neat. To remove the shock towers, the shock towers and the whole front bulkhead comes off in half. And it's just like 4 screws underneath. Pretty much same front and rear. I should have cleaned this up before I did the video. For a more interesting video, but anyways. Front will go there. Good idea to clean your tip once in a while because it gets dirty. That's what I did. I did I already have the shocks off. So the shocks are not on. And that should be it. Front bumper comes off. And then you just take off the front hinge pin brace, I believe. Really rusty hinge pins, we'll need to clean those up. And So the last thing is, I guess you gotta remove these 2 screws here that cover the steering rack, essentially. Steering rack. Steering rack, these all go part of the front bumper. So I'll leave it with the front bumper. Let's see, is that it? Oh, we gotta pull this one too, I guess. It is really coming down here in California. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. And then, let's see here. These arms should pop out. I guess the steering rack should come out. And that's the whole front end. So I think that's pretty much it. I got the whole chassis removed. I mean, this part, yeah, looks like I gotta remove that part. So let's do that. It's like 1 screw's holding that on. Okay, so that's pretty much it. That's the whole chassis removed. People were asking me to make a video about how to change the steering bearings because they come with some bushings. So those are the 4 right there. There's 2 on top, 2 underneath. So that's how you get them out. You got to pull this thing out and then replace those 4 bushings. So yeah, it's pretty much involves removing the front end, I guess. Yeah, pretty much you got to pop off the whole shock tower to get that. So anyways, that answers that question, hopefully, for those of you that were wondering. But that's pretty much it. That's how you do a complete disassembly of your Arrma Granite 4x4 BLX or Sentin or Typhon or Big Rock Crew Cab. And then assembly is just the reverse of disassembly. I'm going to clean things up, put it together, and that's it. So got the Arrma Granite all put back together, cleaned up a little bit. I also checked all the bearings, put a little bit of lithium grease on the differentials and the gears. I actually changed out the servo. I was running this fancy Expert servo, but decided to put in that 20 kilogram servo everyone runs from Amazon. It's like 18 bucks, the Zosuke or Animas or whatever it's called. So yeah, brand new chassis, all ready to go. So next question is, well, what am I going to do with this Arrma Granite? I kind of feel like I've neglected this platform for a while, so I've got some ideas on what I'm going to do. I'll give you a couple hints. Hint number 1 and hint number 2. Alright, well anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe to my channel as always. Hit the add notifications button, share with your friends, and look for more videos soon. Bye.